Alright, guys, so it's that time again where I get to talk about Dead by Daylight and all the characters that could show up in it. Now, recently, and by recently I mean like almost a month ago now, that there was a satisfactory poll that came out of from Dead by Daylight's official creators. And yeah, basically what they were going to talk about, what they asked was like, what would you like to see? And the resounding one was, of course, FNAF. But that's how we got Alien. Like that's apparent because Alien came in 3, and there were a lot of polls, and a lot of people said Aliens. And lo and behold, later on, we get Alien in the game. So they are listening. And it's very clear that one thing you can always say about the Dead by Daylight crew is that they are always listening and listening to suggestions. And they had some really interesting ones for both video games, movies, television, and even anime. Remember, they did do like Attack on Titan skins not too long ago. They didn't have actual Titans in the game, but it does open the door to like what could possibly show up as... You know, it's now with Sadako, now with Attack on Titan skins, now with the Xenomorph, which was a character I didn't think we were going to get. I was actually shocked about seeing the Xenomorph in here, because that's under Disney now. And we all know Disney likes to play with its own toys. So God knows what hoops they had to jump through to get the Alien. I knew they're probably still not going to get Predator, because, well... It's only one reason. There's Predator Hunting Grounds. Now, granted, Predator Hunting Grounds isn't a popular game, but I don't think like the idea of like Disney wants to keep competition, and but at the same time there was also Alien Dark Descent that just came out, which speaking as such, I own that game. I own that game now. So I don't know what Behavior had to do. I don't know how many dicks they had to suck to get the Alien, to get the Xenomorph in the game. I'm sure they must have, like, just hit the look 9000 on Mickey for, like, an hour straight. That's the only explanation I can think of. Why do I say these horrible things? Anyway. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with my insanity, by the way. What the fuck is wrong with me? A lot of things. Anyway, so I figured since the Alien has shown up, I figured I'd talk about some other characters. Now, I'm not going to go completely ballistic. But I am going to throw out some characters that were on that list and kind of talk about who else could show up in the game. Whether it be, now we can do anime. I don't know if we'll get cartoons in here. I doubt we'll ever see Bill Cipher in a Dead by Daylight game. I'm just saying. But, like, now the floodgates are opened. And now we can literally we can do whatever we want, honestly. And before anyone asks, yes, I know the Aquaman trailer came out. I will do a video, but it's not real. But let's just say it's not really on my high priority right now, because it's very clear it ain't on Warner Brothers. So why should I make it a high priority at my end? But don't worry, I will be doing a video on it, just not right now. We're talking about Dead by Daylight. That matters more. Anyway. So, that in of itself, like, if we're going to talk about who could show up next, and the door's open. Like, the door's been kicked open. Having the Alien here, having Sadako here, having, like, Resident Evil characters and Silent Hill. There was Stranger Things, but we don't talk about that because it really does feel like Netflix was being uber pet. By the way... You hear all the stories, and again, it might be a little biased, but this is what we're hearing, is that Netflix, when they canceled their deal with Dead by Daylight and yanked away the Demogorgon and the other survivors and Stranger Things in general, that it was just them being petty over rights or something. And given how they're treating writers right now in this whole strike, yeah, I believe it. I kind of believe it. Anyway, so... enough about that. Let's talk about like who could show up in the game now and who I would like to see. And granted, yes, there are other videos who have talked about this before, but hey, you're here, I'm here. Let's talk about some fun stuff. And yes, I know this is a video I've done multiple times, but fuck it. I mean, if people online can do the same video talking about speculation stuff by Dead by Daylight or Mortal Kombat, and not to discredit them, please don't think I'm, like, making fun or discrediting them. I understand. We're all running a business here. We're all out here struggling. But I'm just saying, like, I can do that, too. Like, I can bring out this video every so often as well. I'm just using that as an example. Anyway, so let's get started. In fact, it was actually what inspired this video real quick before we go any further. And yes, I know, we've been here for 5 minutes. The other thing that really inspired me to really want to do this video was watching several videos from different people and seeing all their, like, takes on, like, whether it be FNAF or Jurassic Park, which we will get into, and I'll throw out my ideas for that. But yeah, it was actually from those people. I was like, yeah, I want to do a new video now. I haven't really talked about I didn't even talk about the alien. Probably because there was, like, mostly because, like, ooh, cool, aliens here, and that's really all I had to say. Anyway, so let's talk about some Dead by Daylight characters that we could see. Starting off with, yes, I'm not even going to bury the lead anymore, Jurassic Park. Now, Multi, I hear you say, how could Jurassic Park work in Dead by Daylight? It's not really horror. Wrong! Wrong, wrong, wrong. The whole point of Jurassic Park in the novel, and technically in the book, though it doesn't really focus on that, the book especially was meant to be like a sci-fi horror novel, whereas in the movie, it does have horror elements, but most to be a adventure series. If you really want to say, like, which one was more horror-based, it would probably be The Lost World. Now, you may be thinking, well, who would be the killer? You can't use the T-Rex or the Spino. I actually have, and a lot of people said one, but I'm going to throw out another idea for a killer from the Jurassic Park / World franchise. Of course, first and foremost, the Velociraptor. Specifically, the raptor I would use as, like, the base skin, keyword here, base skin, would be the big one from the big female from Jurassic Park, the first one. I would have, like, the visitor center as the map. I think that would really work. And I think it would be really cool to use her as to how, like, she would pin people down, like, just slash at them or jump on them. I would even have, like, ability where she could, like, smell the air, and then, like, you can see, like, the tracks leading somewhere, kind of like Michael's tracer ability he had. Or was that? No, that was Witch Doctor. Anyway, I think it was. Anyway, so as for how you could do the raptor, how you could use the raptor, like, when it's killing people, I would even have, like, how you would do it when it's, like, when you got someone down. I wouldn't have it like they carry you. It'd be more like they grab you by the ankle or foot and start dragging you away, then toss you onto the meat hook. That's how you would do it for the raptor. As for survivors, that would be a little more difficult to utilize, mostly because that is that's a whole facial rights thing. But again, they got Ellen Ripley. They didn't really use Sigourney Weaver's face, but I don't know, that's tricky water. So I would say for survivors, I think it would be really cool to actually, instead of using, like, Grant and Sadler, it'd be kind of cool to use Tim and Lex, actually. That'd be kind of cool, like, to use the kids. That way you can utilize the kitchen scene. That'd be really awesome. And also, when I've said base skin for the Raptors, I would utilize that other skins you can use would be the other Raptors. Like, you can do the Tiger Stripe run from Lost World, and you could do the JP3 Raptor, like, and make it the male Raptor with the little crest that went up. Maybe even I don't know if they would utilize Blue, because they want to make Blue a quote-unquote hero character, so yeah. Now, there is another dinosaur, or more or less villain, I should say, that you could use in this place, and that's the Indoraptor. Here, this would probably be Ben Lockwood and Claire and Owen as survivors. The Indoraptor would be... It's very much a horror monster. It is very much like... And Lockwood Manor, you can utilize a lot of those dark spaces, especially, like, using the underground labs as places to hide and look for generators. Plus, you could, that thing was supposed to cloak, so maybe you can actually do the cloaking ability with the Indoraptor. And I know, Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom was not good, and I am not a fan of the Indoraptor, but it does make sense as, like, you could utilize that as a horror character. You could use it as a killer in Dead by Daylight, so there you go. As for others, Bioshock has been thrown around a lot. I would love to see a Big Daddy, and you could even utilize the little sister to send the little sister down to break traps or stun people for a moment, and something like that. The Big Daddy would be really cool, maybe running around in Rapture, or you could do Frank Fontaine as the killer. That would be really awesome. Fontaine would be a really fun one because he utilizes all of the Evo. So you could when you're Fontaine, you could utilize all of the Evo abilities that he has, something like that. Bioshock would be really fun. Bendy and the Ink Machine. I'm surprised no one talks about Bendy. I know a lot of people say FNAF and, having William Afton, aka Springtrap, as the slasher, but no one ever talks about Bendy. I'm like, guys, could you just imagine running around in that the cartoon Joey Drew Studios and how fucked that would be? And have... Okay, you basically have two really good killers you could use. You could use, obviously, a Demon Bendy, the big ink demon Bendy, that as your killer. That's the best one to use. Well, you got three, actually. I'll get... and now that I think of... Or you could use Sammy Lawrence. He's got an axe. He'd be a really cool killer. And Alice Angel. I think any of those three for killers in a Bendy and the Ink Machine game would be fucking phenomenal. I'm surprised... Again, I know everyone says FNAF. I know everyone says that. They've been begging for a FNAF killer for a long time, especially Afton. I know that there is some drawbacks there, which I'm not going to go into. I am not the right person to talk about the stuff that goes on with Scott Clawthorne. Remember, I'm not a big FNAF fan. So I don't really... And the only reason I'm excited for the movie is because I'm excited to see the puppets from Jim Henson's studio, and they got one of my favorite actors playing the main villain, apparently. So, it's been a movie that a lot of people have been talking about, so I was like, fuck it. It looks fun. I will go check it out. As for another killer, and I think this one has a really good shot at, just follow me, I think then another killer that could be on the list is Megan. Megan has taken the horror world by storm just from the meme dance alone. So you'd even give her the paper cutter. I know that has a name, but she uses that as a sword. So you could use that as her weapon. Megan, there you go. Megan for another one. I think that if we're gonna go by other horror, they had a lot, and if we're gonna go by anime, I think it would be really cool if we used, God, there's so many horror anime that we could use. I know some people in the comments are probably going to go Johann Liebert from Monster. I think that would be really interesting. I think it would be really fun if we're going to go by Hellsing, what killers we could use for that. There's a few. I would say... Well, Anderson is kind of an anti-hero, but he is kind of villainous, and he could easily work as a psychotic priest. Even you could make the argument for Alucard himself as the killer, because remember, he is a monster, and he will fucking eat you. So there's a very valid argument you could make to have even Alucard the killer. There is also... if we're going to go by other video games, I would say there's talk of Alma from Fear. You guys remember Fear? Yeah. I think if we're going to go by it's a little out there, but I think it could work, is General Rom from Gears of War. He's big and bulky, and it's not really a horror game, but you could make that dude scary. Especially, just whipping out that minigun he has, or sending the locusts. Oh, God, it'd be... Oh, man. That'd be horrifying. Anyway. So, there you go, guys. That's just a few ideas. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what are some of your a little out there ideas, but what that could work in the realm of possibility for killers in Dead by Daylight? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.